Overseas Filipino workers are now allowed to return to Macau and Hong Kong after the Bureau of Immigration exempted them from the COVID-19 travel ban. The Interagency Task Force on Emerging Infectious Diseases said Filipinos with working visas, student visas, or permanent resident visas will be authorized to travel. But tourists are still barred. Presidential spokesperson Salvador Panelo says there have been requests from OFWs to return to their place of work.
And the only reason why we had a travel ban is because the president is concerned about their safety. But if they themselves are requesting, if they know the risk, then...
The Department of Foreign Affairs says Filipinos returning to Macau and Hong Kong will be required to sign health waivers. By signing the waiver, Filipinos recognize the risk of returning to these places, but DFA Secretary Teddy Boy Locsin clarified this does not mean that the government is waiving its obligations. The World Health Organization says the number of new cases is declining based on the data released by China, but it is still too early to tell if the outbreak has peaked. The organization notes the trend must be interpreted cautiously. WHO also sees no other reason to upgrade the risk level. It maintains that COVID-19 is not a global pandemic.
Trends can change as new populations are affected. It's too early to tell if this reported decline will continue.
Meanwhile, Liu Jiming, head of a leading hospital in Wuhan, China, the epicenter of the outbreak, has died of the disease, becoming the second prominent doctor to have succumbed to the pathogen. So far, nearly 2,000 Chinese health workers have been infected with the virus. In Shanghai, China, doctors are employing plasma therapy to combat COVID-19. They are using infusions of blood plasma from people who have recovered from the virus to treat those still battling the infection. While in Japan, officials are planning to launch a series of critical trials of HIV medications.
The preparations led by the National Center for Global Health and Medicine are currently in progress, so that clinical trials using HIV medication on the novel coronavirus can start as soon as possible.
More than 300 Americans have been evacuated from a ship under quarantine in Japan. Canada, Australia, Italy, and South Korea are also planning to evacuate their citizens on the cruise liner. This comes after the number of confirmed cases on board rose to 454.